Alright, guys, welcome back. Sorry, it's been a little bit. I've been busy with college and whatnot. And so, between the upload between this episode and the last episode on my channel, I did create a hypothetical video for R.F. Kennedy's pathway to victory. However, I was not satisfied with the video. I didn't think it was on for the standards I want for my channel, and admit it right now, it's very ludicrous that RFK Jr. wins if it is not by a electoral college gridlock, which is already in itself a very hard thing for him to accomplish. So I don't think I'm going to be making that video on my channel anymore. We'll see what happens. I'll certainly, if I do decide to go back to it, I will rethink through it and maybe even give it a script. If you don't know, most of my videos don't have scripts, and I am working on a script for a video. It's still in production. It's about 6 pages so far, maybe 4 pages. I'm going to be honest. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So, as I said, yet again, Donald Trump is carrying away the nomination. In fact, he has the nomination. If you can't tell on Wikipedia, when the number next to a candidate is black, that implies that they won, and Donald Trump is actually the, well, I guess Republican nominee elect, but he is the Republican nominee at this point in time, and he's going to get he has all delegates he needs, and so does Joe Biden. It is going to be a confirmed rematch. If we, in fact, go to here, it shows it right here. Now, they both are presumptive, but there's no mathematical or logical way in which either of them lose the nomination at this time, as both have acquired the same number of delegates. Interestingly enough, both Joe Biden and Donald Trump acquired the same amount of delegates that they need to quit their respective parties' nomination on the same day. I don't believe that has happened any time in recent history. But as I said, Nikki Haley got trounced out, embarrassed herself, frankly. I did say there's a possibility she wins Vermont, and she did win Vermont. And I think that's very interesting and funny. Now, let's not give her more credit than she deserves. She only has a single more delegate than Trump gets in the state, and she didn't even get 50% in the state. It's like 49.4 or something. Embarrassing margins. And I will clarify that while she did win, there was a lot of crossover support by Democrats to make Trump look weak, because I don't know, they just hate him. But anyway, so Trump, amazing results all around. He's doing great in these primaries. He carried California by 80, Texas by 80%. Most of these big states, he's getting 80, 70, 90%. And I know people think, well, that's strange. Nikki Haley dropped out. Why is he losing 20% of the vote? And I will clarify that while that is true, going back to the 2020 Democratic primary, 2016 Republican primary, even after these candidates dropped out, they still got some support. In fact, a lot of support Nikki Haley has gotten in these recent contests is from mail-in votes that were cast before she officially dropped out. So take that as it is. And very great news for Trump. And let's look at the polls. So look at the latest polls out of swing states by Emerson College, a A-plus rated pollster. We don't see the best map for Biden right now. Biden's down by 4 in Wisconsin. He is down by 4 in Georgia, 3 in North Carolina. He's down by 4 in Arizona, and so on and so forth. He is, at the moment, losing every single swing state to Donald Trump, with there's no exception, actually. I think there's a single Emerson poll that shows it tied in the state of Michigan, which, is it somewhere down here? No, it's not. But there's a single swing state poll in the state of Michigan that shows him narrowly beating Joe Biden in the poll, which is very interesting. The top-rated pollster in this country is showing Trump winning every single swing state, but he's not painted a great picture for Joe Biden, to say the least. And when we look at the normal polls, and this one, Trump is up by 7. Biden has 38% of the vote. Very embarrassing for an incumbent president, even when you consider that the polls are always somehow, way, shape, or form at some point in the cycle, magically shifted more to favor Democrats, except for this election. So Trump +2 in the economics, +2 in Yahoo, Forbes, Rasmussen. And sure, and these two polls, which are not necessarily the best rated polls in the country, I've never heard of them. I think this one is running like the 50th or 58th best poll, which is nothing to brag about when we go to that, Biden's only up by 1 or 2, and that's not enough for him to win. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, he's up by 1 or 2 points. He's going to narrowly win re-election. But I would like to remind you that that's not how this system works. You have to not just win the popular vote, you also have to win the Electoral College. And Biden does not have the room in the Electoral College that he needs to win right now. Let's just face it, even if Biden does win a popular vote by 1 or 2, which I don't think that's necessarily set in stone. I definitely think the popular vote is in play. He's probably not going to win Georgia at this point in time. He's definitely not going to win North Carolina. Wisconsin, well, that's just shifting away from him as we speak. The RNC is actually, competent now that they've hired new co-chairs, being Laura Trump and Michael Wangley, and they're going in there and they're registering as many Republicans in the northern part of the state as possible, which, if that's successful, that's going to turn Wisconsin from a purple state to a light red, maybe pink state for the foreseeable future. So I think he also loses Nevada, and he's going to have to win Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Arizona to become president, and that's just not looking good for him because, well, he's not winning in any of those states. He might carry Michigan, but even at that, he's probably going to lose Pennsylvania, albeit maybe even narrowly. He's going to lose Arizona. And New Hampshire, many people are considering it in play. Now, I don't think even if Trump wins by the popular vote, he's probably not going to get New Hampshire, given the demographics of the state, and it is more liberal than not. However, it's not great for Joe Biden right now in the race for the presidency. So when we account for all of this, even though with a Trump popular vote by currently 2 points, which would imply that to a degree he is going to do vastly, vastly better than anticipated in these states. I mean, if I felt the rest of the map, give all these for Trump, I think if he does win the popular vote, I wouldn't necessarily be shocked or surprised if he carried a Minnesota 2 or a Virginia or maybe even Maine at large, along with New Hampshire. I mean, if you are down by 7 points as an incumbent, and when historically speaking, polls always underestimate Trump, I don't think that's a good sign for the Biden campaign. Now, I don't think he's going to win by this margin. That's not what I'm trying to imply. However, it's a possibility, and not a great one for the Democrats. Sorry about that, guys. I had a friend talk to me about something. But yeah, it's not looking great for Joe Biden right now. And I think, all things considered, if I were to be fair to Joe Biden, given the states that I do think genuinely he is going to win, right back to him. I think this is the anticipated map as of now. Things can change. If you go back to the video I uploaded on November 5th of last year, you will remember that this is what I anticipate the map to look like, and I still think that's very much a possibility. However, at this point in time, I'd rather be Trump than Biden if I was running for president. Now, another thing I'd really like to talk about that will definitely help Republicans in the Senate, sorry, fill this out while I talk, is the fact that the Trump-endorsed candidate in Ohio did exceptionally well yesterday. Well, rather than yesterday, Tuesday, to the point where I'm starting to shift how I'm thinking and considering this race will go, especially for the Senate. So, as it stands right now, this is the current map of all these states I consider competitive. Now, we can argue about the margin of these states and whatnot. I think Pennsylvania is going to be lighter than that, and same thing for Virginia. But let's go to the Ohio Republican primary. Trump does exceptionally well. He carries every single state, and he endorsed businessman Bernie Moreno, and I'm going to give you the farm now. Bernie Moreno, he won the Republican nomination. However, when we go to the polls, well, it's not necessarily the best perspective for Moreno. You might think, oh, okay, he won. He was Trump endorsed. Trump was also on the ballot with him. But these polls, I mean, come on, he's down to state senator Matt Dolan by quite a bit in these recent polls. However, that's not what happened. Bernie Moreno, his pure vote total alone, I'm talking about this number, he got more votes in this primary where he would have defeated the incumbent United States Senator Sherrod Brown. Granted, it was uncontested, however, Joe Biden was also on the ballot this day. Democrats did not show up, and this is the smallest vote total Sherrod Brown has gotten his whole career in a primary. Matt Dolan, who many saw as the more moderate of the choices, who was, of course, pivoting to the right to win the primary, same thing for Frank Rose, were expected to, make this competitive, make it a dogfight for a win. That's not what happened. Every single county, Dolan's home county, LaRose's home county, every single county in the state voted for Bernie Moreno, the Trump-endorsed candidate. Moreno is a definitely good candidate to run in the state. Ohio is a Republican state, and beyond that is a Trump state. And when we look at this, he does exceptionally well on the part of the state he's going to have to win in order to become the United States Senator, that being Northeast Ohio. And Northeast Ohio decided the last election that was held in the state. Because if we go back to 2018, the whole map is basically red, besides the exception of Northeast Ohio. However, if Bernie Moreno is already showing this strong indication of support in Northeast Ohio, remember, this is where East Palestine took place, we can definitively say that Moreno is a strong candidate and is more likely than not going to be incumbent United States Senator Sherrod Brown. Now, you can argue, oh, look at the polls, though. These polls are horrendous for Moreno. But you must also consider the fact that these polls were also horrendous for Moreno, but he did exceptionally well. In fact, he did better than, in my opinion, one of my personal favorite senators, J.D. Vance, when he ran in the primary 2 years ago. So all things considered, I am going to change my classification of Ohio from tilt blue all the way to tilt red. And I'm pretty confident that at the bare minimum, even if Montana flips blue, the floor for Republicans in this upcoming election, Senate-wise, is going to be at least 51-52. Now, they could pick up Wisconsin. They could pick up Arizona. Maybe Sam Brown is carried over the line in a similar fashion to Moreno, for example. Maybe Mike Rogers does defeat Elise Steinfunk. We'll see what happens. However, my official categorization for each state will be as follows, is lean blue. But even at that, that's still 52 Senate seats. And Joe Biden, Donald Trump, he could lose Pennsylvania and he could still pick up the Ohio Senate seat and the Montana Senate seat and not have a Senate to work with or a Senate to compromise with in that instance. Now, you can also argue, well, he is down in the polls. It's not definitive that this is a state that's favorable to Moreno or Republicans. Sherrod Brown is a very popular guy. Okay, if you want to argue that, I can still uphold my argument on the basis that, okay, well, Larry Hogan's a popular guy. Sure, he might not be an incumbent, but there is no incumbent in this race, at least. Therefore, it is reasonably to expect that Republicans will still get 52-48 in some way, shape, or form, considering that Larry Hogan is up by in every single poll. So, if we want to argue and playdate towards that narrative, well, albeit the map looking weird, it is still a map that gives Republicans a majority. Now, let's cut the toast. We both know that's not going to happen. So, I think I'm going to end the video here, and stay tuned, because hopefully sooner than I've promised in the past, I will admit, give me some leeway. I'm a college student. Come on. I would like to make a video about how the Republican Party would look without Trump. Granted, he hasn't been in it for more than, really, 9-10 years. However, I think I could construct a great argument that will go towards my understanding the Republican Party video in that video. And it's going to be a very interesting video, and we're just going to see how great the Republicans would really be doing without Trumpism or without Trump being on the ticket. So, without further ado, please like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think. You're welcome to disagree with me. I think intellectual discussion is very important in this modern day and age. So, if you disagree with me, go ahead and tell me. Without further ado, please like, comment, subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon.